Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to take a look at this new RC Truggy from Hosim. This is the X-07. This is a 1/10 scale brushless Truggy that I think looks like it's really well built. Now this is a rebranded XLF. If you're not familiar with XLF, they make some pretty good entry-level, hobby grade, a lot of brushless RC trucks, and I'm really excited to get my hands on this one. Now I've not driven it yet, but I want to get a table review out of the way, then we'll get outside and do a test drive of this. Now this is 2 and 3S compatible, but it comes with just one really large 2S pack. But I do plan on doing in the future a 2 and 3S top speed test to see how much faster it is on 3S. It has a 45 amp ESC. We'll take a look at all that underneath the body here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the accessories that comes with this first. Now, what you see right in front of me right now is a complete package that's available only on Hosim's website. There is a package also available on Amazon, has a little bit less than this package right here. The package on the Hosim website has 2 items that are not available with the Amazon package. It's this B3 charger and this Lipo bag. Otherwise, everything else you see is available on the Amazon one, and it's like $70 less. So unless you really need these, you're probably better off, getting the Amazon one. But I'll have links down the purchase links down in the description to both of these on Hosim and Amazon, depending on where you would prefer to buy it if you're interested in this. So let's go ahead and look at those items. Again, you get this Lipo bag. Now, charging these Lipos is always a bit of a risk, so a Lipo bag is always really important, especially when you're charging. Not so much when you're storing them, but when you're charging, because that's when you could have a failure and you see people's houses burned down or part of the house because they had a Lipo fire. This should prevent that. So it's always good to put your batteries into a Lipo bag when you're charging. So again, this is only available with this package if you buy it from Hosim. And then they give you this B3 Pro charger. This is a wall charger, and this can charge 2 and 3S. So if you plan on getting a 3S Lipo to put in here, and you don't have a hobby grade charger or laying around, then this might be a better package for you because this does have the ability to charge 2 and 3S. Now, they just charge off the balance plug, so it's not going to be a very quick charge, but I found these little wall chargers to be more accurate and give a better, truer charge than the little USB ones, which you'll see in a moment. They do give you a USB one as well, but this is what it looks like. You got some lights here, and you have your 2 and your 3S balance plugs here on the side, and then you got your power cord here, so you can actually charge it on the wall. But again, I would recommend just saving your money and go with the Amazon one and get yourself like an IMAX or a decent hobby grade charger for much less than probably you're saving buying with those 2 things. Then you get a little bag here with the Hosim branding. They give you that USB charger in here, and then you got like a wheel wrench, some nuts, wheel nuts. You get some extra body clips inside here and a Velcro strap as well. So that is all the stuff in this bag. Has a pretty nice instruction manual that's got good English in it, and it's got really good instructions and just telling you how to use it. But again, with these RC cars, there's not too much you need to know about that. And then they give you that really giant battery. Now, this is a 5200 milliamp hour 2S Lipo 25C. You're going to get a long run time. Like I would think a half an hour plus. With cars, it depends on how you drive them. So the harder you drive it, the faster you drive it, the less time. Use a Dean's plug. On the Amazon and the Hosim listing, they show just 2 2600 milliamp batteries. It comes with a parallel connector, so you would strap both of them in the car, and it runs like one giant 5200 milliamp 2S Lipo. So you could possibly get 2, depending on which warehouse it ships from. This came directly from Hosim, so the Amazon warehouse may have the 2 Lipo one. The only real disadvantage there is you have to charge 2 batteries instead of 1, so that's about it. Otherwise, it'll be just identical to this. And then you get this blue body and red body. Now I have the red body on, I have the film pulled off. I don't have it pulled off on this one. So you can decide which body you want to put on this. I kind of like the blue, but I think red matches the accents on the wheels a little bit better. So that's why I have it on here. today and for the drive review. But you know, you can drive one until it gets beat up and swap, or just swap depending on what colors that you like for that day. And then they get you, you know, your pretty typical pistol grip controller. It takes, I think it's four AA batteries. You know, your typical stuff. You don't need me to go over too much, but the trims here are a little bit goofy in name, but it's your throttle, like kind of your dual rate for your throttle, like how fast you want to go, whether you want to go at full speed or you want to cap it to a lower speed for someone younger. The middle here is your steering dual rates, so that's going to adjust how big of a tight or how wide of a wheel the turning radius is. And then all the way to the side here is just your regular throttle, your steering trim. So let's just, you know, trim it up because it's going to pull right or left when you first get it. You have some steering reversing here, which you shouldn't need to mess with, those little switches. And then your on and off switch. And there's a few red and green light that lets you know it's powered up. And if the battery is low, it probably will both come on or it'll flash, something like that. Otherwise, it's just your standard pistol grip controller. So let's go ahead and reposition the camera and take a look at the electronics underneath the truck. And then we'll get outside for the driver view, so hold on a second. Alright guys, let's go and take a look at the electronics underneath the body of the car here. So I already got the clips removed. Let's go ahead and take a look underneath. Now, you got your brushless motor mounted up here. Has some passive cooling on it. These little aluminum fins will obviously help to keep it cool, but you could, you know, easily buy one of those little fan mount ones, as long as you have enough room underneath the body and put on there, because this is only a 2847. It's a rather smaller sized brushless motor. We'll see how it does. I would probably prefer to see a little larger motor in there just because it's this 1/10 scale, you know, something that's more the 540, 550 brushed motor size in terms of the brushless motor. We'll see how it does on this this car. It does have powder metallurgy gears, it says, so some metal gears inside of the drivetrain of this. And of course this is four-wheel drive, which I didn't mention, so you've got front and rear gearboxes and a metal drivetrain between the front and the back. Here is your 45 amp ESC, and it has a bunch of connections here. Let's move the, it may not be so easy to see it there, but here's some connections for some extra lighting, because there is on the front here some LED light strip. So when we get outside, you'll see that, or you may have noticed it in the intro, there's a little LED light bar there. Your power button is here on the side, and it does have a cooling fan, which is nice to see, especially if you're running on 3S, that heat is being dissipated out the top. Lots of times these ESC receiver combos, because you can see the antenna here, this is a receiver ESC combo, as they call these, which is pretty common in the ready to run, especially on the budget class like this. It's good to see a cooling fan on this because they tend to not have them too often. You got your Dean's plug. Here is your wires running in here from the brushless motor. Up here on the front, you've got your 3 kilogram digital high torque servo. So this is a nice higher torque, which is good for these large size tires and wheels. And it does have a metal horn here on the front, so the servo horn. You got some metal components down here in the steering. So this, just if you listen to this, you can just see, even though I'm just doing this manually, it just has a nice smooth feel. I have a feeling this is going to be a nice steering mechanism. Just everything, the metal components in here, it shouldn't break very easily, and it just feels like a really good high quality 3-wire servo. So I don't think you're going to need to replace this servo. It doesn't seem like a cheap one like you see many times in some of these budget class RC. You have metal tie rods or turnbuckles here, and I can kind of lift the car up a little bit. You can see it here, and the dog bones are also metal. If I can hold it up here so you guys can see it inside there, you got metal dog bones on this. So seems like a really well built RC car. And you've got oil-filled shocks all the way around. These look like sort of the oil-filled shocks that you see often from Xinlehong, which is a different Chinese manufacturer, though there may be some connections with XLF, I don't know, because their vehicles look very similar. But I have another Xinlehong that has these shocks, and I gotta say, these feel really fantastic. Like, for budget oil-filled shocks, just this whole vehicle, when I drop the car, it just has a nice soft and thug. It doesn't bounce, and it rebounds correctly. Feels like it's gonna be really good at absorbing jumps and not be a bouncy vehicle, which you would hope for with an oil-filled vehicle. And this front bumper is just super sturdy. You've got the reinforcement here, and it's just going to be able to absorb impacts, and it shouldn't have any, you know, it should save you from busting stuff. It just seems really, really nice. The tires are just really big, you know, rubber tires that you feel on a lot of these RC cars that are from like Xinlehong or XLF. They just seem like a nice RC tire. I like the feeling. Now, there's no foam in there, I can tell, but it seems to be pretty good. On the rear here, and I'm gonna have to move it up here so you guys can see on the camera, you've got a wheelie bar. So we'll see if it's necessary. I don't know. Lots of times they'll throw these on these cars and they're not needed. It could be a deal where it may not need this for 2S, but it might need it for 3S. We will have to see when we get out. Like I said, in this driver review, this may not be necessary, but it could be when we do the 3S test on this guy. So again, you know, it just seems like really nice components, and you've got a lot of just compound plastics that are not like ABS cheap plastics, so they should be able to, you know, hold up pretty good. Inside here you got metal inside here, inside of the hubs, inside the wheels. You just got a lot of metal reinforcements and key parts where you'd want to see them, the parts that end up getting the most stress and impact. Let's just grab this out of the way, and let's just drop this and see. This table's a little bit rickety, so it's gonna be a bit of a thud. You can see, look how that, you can see the car, and it just rebounds really well, and it doesn't bounce. And the shocks just shows you that if you have a decent pair of oil-filled shocks, they don't have to be the greatest. The design of the car, the right tension on the springs, and the correct size or thickness of springs, and probably most importantly, the correct amount and weight of shock oil can make a big difference. It seems like XLF or Hosim really got this right, just from what I can tell. It looks like it rebounds correctly, has enough oil. Lots of times you tend to see from these cars from China, they don't put enough oil in it. I haven't opened this up, but it feels like the right amount of oil in these, and I just think it's going to handle really well. So I'm really, really glad to see that they seem to have gotten all that right, but we won't know for sure until we get it outside and drive it. So you know what? Enough jibber jabber. Let's get this out and drive it here around in 2S. I'm going to take it out to the park, I think, and we'll see how this vehicle handles and how it does, it jumps and stuff. So be right back. All right, guys, I'm at the local park today to do the review for the Hosim X-07 out. The park here is called Konarsik Park. It's built in the 1950s. It's an older park, a lot of pine trees over here and stuff, and just be a cool place. I've been out here before. I reviewed the HSP buggy and a few other cars in the past, but I haven't been here in a couple of years, so I thought this would be a nice place to do a review for the XLF or Hosim X-07. I also have two of my kids here today, and they're going to be driving a couple cars here with me. In fact, Katie, who is about to turn 12, she's going to be driving the red Hosim I think it's the HB17. That's a rebranded MJX Hypergo truck. She's going to be driving that one. That is brushless. And then my youngest one, who's 6, is going to be driving the blue Xinlehong dual motor 6 shocks 4-wheel drive truck here. She's going to be driving this truck. So let's go ahead and put the camera on my head here, and so we can get, you know, some footage, and we'll take these vehicles out and we'll drive. It may be a little chaotic because the kids are here, but it ought to be a lot of fun. So be right back. All right, guys, I got the X-07 powered up. The girls already got their vehicles going. There's going to be a lot of interruptions, I can tell you now. And the youngest one gets stuck or flips over. She freaks out. We got other people here, a dog that doesn't like the cars. So there'll be a lot of distractions. So I'll try to edit out some of that. But let's see how this guy does here today. I'm curious to see how this does. Of course, this is on the stock 2S, 5200 milliamp pack. I'll do a follow-up video. If you didn't hear that at the beginning or you skipped to this portion, I will do a 2 and 3S top speed test using the standard included pack, and I'll throw a 3S LiPo in this, and I'll get a top speed test, and that'll be in a future video, not today. So let me just grab the controller, and let's see how this guy does. Oh, wow. Yeah, about what I expected. And it does ride a wheelie on the 2S. Whoa, Katie. Well, you probably had quite the shaky video there for a moment, guys, as I had to back up and the camera flopped on my head. Yeah, it will definitely ride a wheelie on 2S. But I really think Katy's little, I mean, look at that thing. That thing is probably faster than this even. But I have no doubt in 3S that wheelie bar is going to absolutely be needed. Yes, honey. Let's try not to hit anybody's legs and stuff. Let me go over here. My daughter's got some. Okay. Your truck's down there?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go get it. And I think over here, guys, you can see this where these pine needles are. There's some really cool little hills and stuff. We can take the vehicles down here. So we're going to go this way so we get away from some other people here at the park. Oh boy, she flipped, Katy flipped the bigger 1/10 scale over with the little, I think it was a 1/16 scale. That little, this little Hosim MJX is just a crazy little truck. So we gotta go down here and figure out where the blue truck is. Yeah, we can see there's a walking trail down there and stuff. It just parked, there's her blue truck. But yeah, this is a cool place to drive cars. You can see, look at that. That was cool. Yeah, this is, especially here where it's getting really good traction on the grass. You can see it's, that wheelie bar is absolutely needed. This truck is not new. I was looking a while ago. There's quite a few videos even from a year ago. So I'm a little, I don't know why Hosim didn't offer this to me until now. It'd been nice to receive this when it first came out, but it could be that they're trying to promote this newest package here that I showed you guys in the table view with the Lipo bag, the better B3 charger. And I say you get that big battery, at least probably from Hosim you would. So you don't have to charge two up in a, to make it 5200 milliamp. Yes, honey. Why don't you go get it? There's her truck up against a tree. I always liked that Xinlehong truck. That's been a very popular truck. That's the basic one she has here. It doesn't have any kind of oil-filled shocks on that blue truck. But it has those cool red rear lights. The rear, I guess, you know, look like brake lights. Oh, mine flipped over. I've got a legendary rebrand of that as well. I've featured on the channel. That one actually has oil-filled shocks, so it's a little bit less bouncy. Otherwise, it's still the same. I think it's what, dual 390 motors, I think, in that thing. Anyway, back to the X-07. I really think this is pretty cool, and I'm surprised at how much the wheelies are, how many wheelies it does so easily. I really thought that might be something that you needed on 3S, because so many of these trucks, you don't need the wheelie bars on 2S and you do on 3. And Katy is just wild. She's gonna have to be careful because you could really bruise someone's ankle. Even that little truck, the way she comes flying through here. Yeah. So be very careful, Katy, not to slam into someone's legs, okay? There you go. You gotta remember, brake and go reverse. You push forward and it goes backwards. See? Push forward and you go backwards. Yours is really well built truck, Katy. But yours is really well built, but you can still break them. I guess I'm paranoid because when I was your age and you're building the Tamiya kits with as cool as they were so easy to break with the modeling ABS plastic. So it's always so paranoid. You hit something, you're gonna break it. These cars nowadays, even these ready to run Chinese cars like this, with the compound plastics and the metal parts, they just don't break like the old kit cars. If you did what she just did with one of the old Tamiya cars, it's a 50-50 chance something's gonna break doing that, because you hit it so hard, you know. It's just, that's the way they were. They weren't made to hit something that hard. Not saying that they were super fragile, but it depends on which vehicle too and how you hit stuff. But you know, I broke things over the years. You're gonna break them with all these RC, but these cars nowadays are just, you know, you can just bash them. And then you get to the hobby grade Arma stuff and Traxxas and sometimes, man, God, you see the videos, people are jumping over their house with them and they don't bust. It's just crazy. Yeah, I really like this. Had a feeling this was going to be a fun truck, a Truggy. But this thing is really super nice. Very, very nice. Very well built. And this is just a good vehicle for the money. If you don't want to have to spend hundreds on a hobby shop brand. Yep, that's a trail. We won't want to take our cars in there now because if you fall off and get them lost somewhere, let's keep them out in the open. We have room to run. Well, you could hear the differential or something squawking there as she went up on. It almost sounded like gears stripping. There's no slipper clutch on these vehicles, so you know that's one thing you're not going to have something to let off the pressure on the gears. Over here, Brynn. She got it up over there. I want to take it over here. We'll end the video here in a moment, you guys. I know this is running on quite long, and if you're still watching now, you're probably getting a bit boring and repetitious. But again, if you're sticking through this right now, I will do a 2 and 3S top speed test. So I'm really curious how this runs on 3S, because I think this would be crazy on 3S. A lot of pine needles. One thing, this is cool to run in, but boy, I tell you what, these pine needles, they're gonna end up all inside the chassis. Yeah, that was cool, Katie. They're gonna end up inside the underneath. They have to be shaken and blown out. But yeah, this is a nice little truck. So I'm real happy and real thankful that Hosim sent this out to me for review. So thank you, Hosim. If you're interested in this vehicle, or if you're interested, if I remember this little Hosim truck as well, you know, I'll try to include a card or something back to that. If I remember, I might forget, but I'll try to maybe include a purchase link. If I don't, just ask me in the comments and I'll let you know on that little truck, because that one's just crazy. Again, that's an MJX Hypergo. That's the one that you can put the full loaded one. Not only can run on 3S, this is running on 2S. They have a 3S pack. Hosim includes too. I just have a big 2S pack in there. That can run a GPS, the GPS module. So by Bluetooth to your phone, you can get your top speed reading, which is really cool if you're running on 3S to see what speed you get without having to attach a GPS reader to it. All right, guys, that'll wrap up the video, and I'll have some time just to drive with my kids and not to worry about any narration or anything. But yeah, this wraps up the review of the Hosim rebrand X-07. I don't believe I have any coupons at this moment, but if you're interested in this, there's purchase links down to the lower cost Amazon package, and then the higher cost with more accessories package available from Hosim's website. Those are down in the video description. All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. While you're at, click the bell. That way you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.